Good morning. The sun has just come up here in Brady, Texas, which means I need to be on the road. I need to get to Carlsbad Caverns today, and then we're going to probably spend the night up in Roswell, New Mexico. So got a little more sun than I thought yesterday, but despite being fully covered. But anyway, had a good time at MotoGP races, and now time to start working my way home. Gonna go see Carlsbad Caverns first, though. All right, come along for the ride. Morning started off really quite nicely with some quaint West Texas towns and some good weather. Unfortunately, that was going to change on me a little bit later. As I was getting further out of town, I started to see some ominous clouds in the distance, and the wind was starting to pick up quite a bit as well. This is an interesting area where the oil fields and wind farms are cohabitating. As I got further west, the wind picked up more and the ground got drier, resulting in this dust storm that I found myself in. It was quite scary at times. The visibility was really poor. Thankfully for the video, the visibility on the GoPro was quite a bit better than the visibility I was having through my visor of my helmet. I did choose to stay right behind this large semi-truck with the big black payload there just so I could have something to see and make sure I was having some large object in front of me to block anything that might be a road obstacle in the way. Ultimately, I did get up on my own, and as the wind was pretty severe here, I was tucked up underneath the windscreen pretty closely, and thankfully got through this dust storm safely, but it was a bit of a challenge. now at Carlsbad Caverns National Park. Thank you, National Park, for having some motorcycle-specific parking. We can now ponder the philosophical question of whether a Can-Am Spyder is a motorcycle. Well, it's not a motorcycle, but it's not a car, so does it belong in motorcycle parking? I don't know. It's about as wide as that Civic behind me, or wider. But then again, with my luggage on, I'm not terribly thin either. So I don't know. I'm not going to answer that one. You can ponder that deep thought for yourself. Anyway, we're going to have a look around here. I guess some comments on the drive out. Not a lot of views or landscapes on the way out. The best views were definitely the last 5 miles coming up to Carlsbad Caverns. A lot of wind, a lot of dust, a lot of windmills, and a lot of rather repugnant odors. There were some landfills, some chemical plants, oil fields, and several odors that were really quite difficult to identify. Although you do smell those kind of things in your car when you're in the environment on the motorcycle, you definitely get a lot more exposure to all that there is to smell and see and feel. So that was interesting. Anyway, let's check out Carlsbad here. This is the Bat Flight Amphitheater. Apparently every evening out of that cave right there, thousands of bats will emerge to go hunt for their food. And spectators can come here and watch them as they do their magnificent aerial work, getting thousands of bats out of that cave in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, I won't be staying here for the evening, so we'll have to get back up to Roswell before that happens. This is just letting us know we're going to descend down 75 stories worth of descent over about 1.25 miles. Apparently the, I think they call it the lunchroom, is the largest subterranean cavern in the country. So we're gonna get to look at that. As we kind of come down, just a bunch of switchbacks that go down into this cave system. It's amazing to think of what the original explorers must have seen and thought as they were going down into pitch black with candles. And on the theme of odors, there are some odors coming out of the cave here as well. Supposedly a lot of salt and sulfuric acid formed these caves. There's a fair amount of birds flying around right now in the cave. Not sure if they show up. No bats yet, just small birds getting some of these insects that are flying around. Kind of doing fun little circles. These are cave swallows. They're neighbors with the white-nosed bats. I think that's what kind of bats they're called. I'll have to double check, but they are obviously active in the day, and the bats are active at night. It's their neighbors, but they don't really interact with each other. We're not quite totally in the dark yet, but it's already starting to get pretty cold, so I put a jacket on, and we're about to descend all the way down into the depths of the darkness there. It's a nice 50 degrees and 95% humidity in the cave, so the lights light up all the humidity in the air. It's just hard to really capture how awesome this is unless you're here. Very impressive. I highly recommend a visit.
So this was a really great visit to Carlsbad Caverns. You don't actually have to hike down the 1.25 miles to get there. In the visitor center, there's an elevator to go down all the way, and in fact, there's even bathrooms with flushing toilets down inside the caverns, and much of the terrain is in fact wheelchair accessible. So it's really quite a welcoming and an amazing place to visit. So I highly recommend it to anybody who's been thinking about it.
All right, well, I've had a chance to visit the Carlsbad Caverns. It is impossible for me to do them justice with photos or videos. It is amazing. Just the detail, the size of the caverns, just all that is in there is just astounding. I definitely recommend a visit. The only challenge is it's in the southeast corner of New Mexico, kind of out of the way of everything. So you have to be pretty motivated to visit Carlsbad, but worth the time. Definitely very interesting. Really quite amazing when you get in there and look at it. They've even got an elevator that takes you all the way down, or you can take the hike in. I took the hike down and the elevator back up. It's 750 feet below. They've even got working bathrooms down there and a paved trail the whole way through. So they make it about as easy as they can for you. You just have to get here. Anyway, I'm gonna head up to Roswell to spend the night there. Got about 2 hours more driving to go, and then we'll call it a day. Oddly enough, in the cave I was having a real craving for waffles. I don't know why, but I told myself on the way here that if there happened to be a waffle place next to my hotel, then I would treat myself to some waffles. Well, that's my hotel right there, and the IHOP is right here. So I'm gonna go have some waffles. Thanks for joining me today, and hopefully join me the next time as well. All right, guys, take care.